Thank you for listening to this Podcast One production, available on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the best in paranormal talk radio. I'm Dave Schrader, and this is Beyond the Darkness. Sitting across from me at the Supernatural News Desk, one Mr. Tim Dennis. Hello, Tim.
Howdy.
Ready for this long weekend?
I am ready for this. It's a long weekend?
For me, it is. I get to be home both Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Yeah, that's a long weekend. Usually I'm tied up one of those days, but I'm finally home from San Diego, where I just had a fantastic time filming one of our episodes for the upcoming TV series I'm a part of that I'm not allowed to talk about, but it was insane. That's all I can say. I'm excited to see how this plays out on TV. So that's all I got for you, Tim.
Okay.
That's all I can say. Don't stop pushing me, Tim.
Well, come on, Dave. Details.
Back off.
Details.
I wish I could. I will tell you this.
Okay.
In all honesty, 13 years of investigating the paranormal, I had a few firsts, and they were profound.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Huh.
I'm really excited, too, because we uncovered a part of a mystery. This location, this place that we visited, I don't know what I'm allowed to say. Just the fact that we uncovered something from its history that nobody has known all these years.
Really?
And it's not just conjecture. I mean, we have the physical proof that this information has been around, and we're the first ones to uncover it in a public way. So this is pretty exciting. Anyway, it's cool. I'll let you know as things progress. I'm going to be doing a lot more of the filming over the next few months and having some fun. So let me start off by saying it's time to celebrate. The Adam Carolla Show just hit its 10-year anniversary, and Adam is kicking it off in style. Join Adam this week as he welcomes late-night talk show legend Jimmy Kimmel on the Adam Carolla Show and Jay Leno on CarCast. So congratulations, Adam. Download the Adam Carolla Show and CarCast every week on Podcast One or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Tim, where will we begin this week? In the weird and supernatural news segment.
Oh, Dave, we're gonna start with our buddy over there in Scotland, the Loch Ness Monster, who evidently the Loch Ness Monster, Dave.
Let me hear you put a little bit of actual passion in the story, Tim. The what?
Well, pardon me, my throat's a little raw today, but the Loch Ness Monster.
You almost sound like you grew up there.
Well, yeah, I sound like a native, I know. Who evidently, much like you, Dave, not camera shy at all, captured twice in the last 5 days.
Really?
Yeah, in just 5 days. Evidently, wanting you to get his good side. Captured twice in just 5 days. A dark L-shaped object spotted on the Loch. Thank you. The allergies are starting to come back now that the snow is melting. By passing tourists. While Nessie Hunter from Ireland reckons he caught her on webcam. Is it he or she, Dave? Have we determined? I mean, has anybody really grabbed Nessie by the nether regions and determined whether it's a he or she?
The nether regions of Nessie. That's the new book I'm writing. It's a sexual cryptozoological book from my Monster Baiter series.
Hey, now watch it. Interesting.
So, I think they've come to the conclusion it's a gal because they call her Nessie. But I don't know. Truthfully, I'm not sure. If push comes to shove, which I hope it never does, I believe that it is a female.
kind of hearkening back to the True Crime Tuesday from this last week, I do not have a spit hood for my my laptop here, so here goes.
Okay.
After disappearing for a month, sightings of the Loch Ness Monster have been reported twice in 5 days. Lisa Brennan and her partner Danny spotted the beast while driving near, is it Urquhart Castle?
Yes, that's it.
Is that how they do it over there?
It's uncanny.
Because
You're grasping the culture and the way that they speak.
I've never been over there, Dave, but I feel like a native.
You sound like a native.
Well, thank you.
Native with a nasal condition.
With a nasal condition?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it is quite damp over there, so I guess. I don't know. I've never been there, so you can't tell me otherwise. The 30-year-old snapped the L-shaped black object. I've snapped my L-shaped black object quite often. In fact, that's why I was at the doctor this week. Just before it disappeared below the water, she explained, we were driving around the loch as we got to Urquhart Bay. Just before the castle, I spotted a dark object around 3 feet tall above the water surface. I shouted, "Oh my God, I've just seen something." He slowed down the car, didn't believe me, but each to their own. By the time I got the camera ready on my phone, the object had lowered into the water, so I only managed to get as much as I did on the photo as it then disappeared into the water. The Manchester couple turned the car around following the sighting on February 23rd. Lisa added, Danny didn't see anything as he was driving. He, she, I don't know. It's all become confusing to me now, Dave. Sex ain't nothing but an object, baby. But said my reaction to what I saw was very convincing. A few days later, on February 27th, Nessie Hunter, oh my God, what is that name? I'm going to try this, Dave, because I don't even know what E-O-I-N spells or is pronounced, but...
Ian.
Is it Ian?
I believe it's a version of it, yeah.
Okay. Ian O'Farhain, I think is his name.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think that's how it says it on the back of his footballer jersey.
It could be. From Ireland, used a webcam to capture a dark shadow on the south side of Loch Ness near the Klansman Hotel, or it could be the Klansman Hotel. Dear God, I need something to drink. Hold on.
How do you think a hotel would do here in the United States if we called it the Klansman?
Well, let's put it this way. The sheets would always be white. And
that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And laundry would always be done. I know that much. He said today, it's a great feeling, or it's a great feeling you got when you photograph something out of the ordinary and Ness.
The only problem is, I said you're doing a Scottish brogue, and this guy's from Ireland.
Oh,
Pay
true.
attention to your dialects.
I'm sorry. Nessie is the dark shape on the surface of Loch Ness on the opposite side of the loch. I had been watching the webcam for about 20 minutes on the afternoon of the 27th when I noticed a dark object appear briefly, seconds, then it was gone, he went on to say. I replayed the live cam and stopped it to take the photo without zooming in. There was no other boat traffic on the loch at that time, and the loch was calm. I knew immediately I had spotted Nessie and not a boat. Boats do not disappear from screen. There was no further appearance of an object in that area after 20 minutes of watching. The first sighting of the Loch Ness Monster for 2019 was reported by Jonas Detch of Aberdeen, who visited the loch without hiking with his brother near the Klansman Hotel in Loch Ness. He claimed that he saw a 50-meter long disturbance. Anything 50 meters long is quite disturbing, I'll tell you that much. That was caused underwater by something large on January 24th. Nessie was reported to have been seen 15 times in 2018. Research carried out last year revealed that the mythical creature is worth £41 million a year to the Scottish economy. Well, by gosh, that's some cash. The first encounter of the beast is said to have been encountered by Irish missionary St. Columba in the River Ness in 565 A.D.
Well, first of all, just let me be the one to congratulate you on. I mean, you're pretty close. Your accuracy to the Scottish language, the brogue, is right on. But I think I may have found something for you, Tim, that's going to help you. And this product has Tim Dennis's name written all over it.
All right.
A sex robot with a sultry Scottish accent is now being shipped to hundreds of Randy customers. Harmony, powered by artificial intelligence, has been under development since it first appeared in the news back in 2016. We reported on it right here, Tim, on this very program. We talked about this doll, and now it's coming to fruition, and it speaks in a sexy Scottish brogue, Tim. Two things not many people would put together. Sexy Scottish brogue.
No.
Built by the U.S. tech firm Realbotics, the lifelike droid is able to talk, joke, and even remember previous encounters with its owner. So you can make an impression on this gal, Tim. Now, it's only 7,000 pounds. That's it.
Oh, that's it?
That's not how much it weighs, Tim. No, that's how much it costs in European money. $7,000, essentially. It's a silicone doll. It's on its way to buyers right now that have been eagerly awaiting this new companion. I wonder if I got one, if you got one and like a month later I got one, would you kind of feel like she's cheating on you knowing that I have an exact duplicate of the same doll at home?
That would be a little weird, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I don't think I could date a twin. Like if I had an identical twin wife, I'd feel weird knowing that some other guy knows what my wife looks like naked. At the same time, I know what she looks like naked, if you know what I mean.
Well, not only that, but you've got the little symbiosis between brains. Like one knows what the other's thinking and the other finishes the other's sentences and stuff like that.
Thanks for that. So now you're letting me know I disappoint two women at the same time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Great. Speaking to the Scottish Sun, Gail Lindroth, robotics AI chief, said, "We have started to ship the first pre-order units of our robots to our customers. Our first lot of robot heads are around 350 units. The lifelike sex doll is a robotic head powered by a smartphone app and can be paired with silicone bodies, which come with heating and touch sensors, Tim. This thing has got more bells and whistles than a brand new Lexus. Anyone is able to get and you can probably drive it longer, too.
Probably.
Anyone is able to get the software and begin building the foundations of their relationship with this controversial android, Tim. So a Scottish brogue sex doll that will remember your past. See, I would rather sometimes they forget. Sometimes it's embarrassing, Tim, right? You can't get out of the stirrups the right way, whatever. Anyhow, I'd rather maybe you can wipe the memory. You could play like Men in Black with her. I don't know. The data from conversations from your former encounters will be memorized by the robot, and then its personality will begin to download, Tim, so it starts to adapt to you. Company bosses say they're not finished trying to develop the high-tech product, with hopes that the next version will include cameras in the eyes, embedded speakers, and more facial expressions. And the features have gone down a hit with testers who spent time with the sex bot. Brick Dollbanger, give me a what? Brick Dollbanger.
What?
That's this cat's name. I would just sit and talk to her for a half an hour every night when I came home from work. That's a funny way to talk to someone. She's a learning AI, Tim.
Mm-hmm. God.
Not just a chatbot. Our conversations become more fluid, more comfortable. She was even remembering things that we had talked about previously. Oh, good. So we can bore our sex dolls like we do the women and people in our lives by repeating the same stories over and over again, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, not everyone is welcoming the latest development in the sex robot industry, with many raising fears that it'll lead to increased levels of sex addiction, Tim. But you know what? I'd rather that you're sexually addicted to a silicone robot than children or other people that you can impose yourself on and hurt.
True.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong with that?
No, not at all.
I feel like I'm not wrong with that.
No.
But you and I both know, Tim, that's not the real concern. People aren't worried, Tim, that, well, it might lead to more sexual addiction. I mean, there's probably a small percentage of that because there's always worrywarts that are trying to rain on our parade, Tim. But before you get too comfortable with this concept, Tim, just let me remind you that your future sex robot could be hacked and programmed to murder you.
Of course.
Yeah. There's been a lot of talk recently about the dangers of AI, with folks like Elon Musk sounding the alarm and suggesting the very real possibility we may be on the brink of engineering our own demise. Cybersecurity guru Dr. Nick Patterson of Deakin University in Australia has now jumped into the conversation, warning that it isn't just artificially intelligent military systems or infrastructure that can pose a threat, but these new sex dolls, Tim. Speaking with the Daily Star, Patterson notes that the potential for hackers to target robots designed for intimacy could put users at risk. Right. When you start putting cameras in the eyes, first of all, that just seems like a bad plan. Very bad plan. And it seems to me a lot of blackmailing is going to take place. Hackers can hack into a robot or a robotic device and have full control of the connections of the arms, the legs, and other attached tools, like in some cases, knives or welding devices. What?
Yep.
What kind of sex games are you into if you're giving your sex doll knives or welding devices to hold on to while you're having fun? What are you is your sexual fantasy the Flashdance sequence? She's a welder. She's a sex doll. She's all you could possibly need. Patterson says often robots can be upwards of 200 pounds and very strong. Once a robot is hacked, full control and can issue instructions to the robot. The last thing you want is for a hacker to have control over one of these robots, Tim. Once hacked, they could absolutely be used to perform physical actions for an advantageous scenario or to cause damage. At the moment, the technology behind sex cyborgs is still rather primitive, but there's no telling what the future could hold, Tim. I think we know what the future holds. And if you had a sex doll, I'm pretty sure I know what it would be holding. If we reach a point where these robots are capable of lifelike movements and their brains can be tweaked via software updates, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility, Tim's, that death by sex robot may end up on some unfortunate soul's tombstone. Here lies Tim Dennis, formerly of 314.
Dave?
What? I'm just saying how it would read. I'm picturing it in my mind.
First of all, yeah. I would never go near one of those things. I'll tell you why.
I don't believe you at all.
No, I'm serious.
Really? Well, tell me why. Enlighten me.
You know the fear I have of robots, first of all. But second
I also
of all,
understand how much you love making love to dolls, Tim. So I don't know if one would outweigh the other.
Second of all, I can think of 15 different ways that thing could kill you before you'd even get even near it.
But what a way to go.
Oh, no.
And especially if it's wearing a welder's mask and holding a torch. Those sex fantasies are out of control.
All right,
Rubberine, here's a knife. I'm going to come at you like Michael Myers. You need to fight me off. What kind of weird world do we live in, Tim, that this is the concerns?
Do you remember the movie where there were the teeth inside the vagina?
Yes, it's called Teeth.
Just think of razor blades inside there that just
make me think of
like
it,
Wolverine's claws just snicked.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, John Wayne Bobbitt. That's the three words I have for you.
Yikes. You are a dark, dark man, Tim.
Quick, clean, and bled to death.
All right, let's cheer this place up, Tim. What other stories have you got for us?
Well, I don't know if this is going to cheer you up, Dave, but a man was caught pouring diesel onto a neighbor's home, claiming that he was trying to kill a ghost.
Just doing a civic duty, that's all.
Well, Kong Fam's use of diesel instead of petrol may have prevented tragedy, according to police. A man who was filmed attempting to burn down his neighbor's home told police he was trying to kill a ghost. 38-year-old Kong Pham was caught on CCTV as he doused the house's front door with more than 7 liters of diesel before attempting to set it alight. After the fuel failed to ignite, he apparently gave up and walked off. Police in Stockton, California arrested him earlier on suspicion of attempted murder and arson on Thursday Investigators said that if Mr. Pham had used petrol, which is far more flammable than diesel, he probably would have killed himself and those inside the house. 2 children aged 3 and 10 and several adults were reportedly asleep inside at the time. Mr. Pham is said to told police that he had seen a ghost inside the family's house and was trying to kill it. A neighbor told the Fox 40 News Channel that the man had previously been recorded on the property, ringing the doorbell repeatedly and pacing about.
Hey, Tim, every car comes with its share of stories. That ding in your bumper when you nervously pick up on a first date, the luxury package you got after a big promotion, or the mileage you saved by riding your bike all summer. Well, you can't always put a price tag on stories. Now, with TrueCar, you can at least find out what your car is worth when it comes time to sell or trade it in. Just go to TrueCar. Simply enter your license plate number and watch how your car's values details pop up. Then answer a few questions. Do you have navigation and moonroof? There they go, bumping up your value. How about high mileage? Well, you knew that was going to cost you, but now you know how much it dings your wallet, so you can plan ahead. Once you're finished, you'll get a true cash offer sent in minutes, which you can take to a local certified dealer to cash out or trade in. So when you're ready to experience a better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar today. True cash offers are not available in all areas. All right, Tim, where are we off to next?
Well, Dave, rental cars can be quite expensive, and it turns out that one Florida woman found an easier way to save money on a rental car. It's real simple, Dave.
Oh God, I could use this. I'm traveling a lot now. What's a way to save some money on a rental car, Tim?
Well, actually, Dave, there's a service out there that will help you get that rental car for free. Evidently.
Really?
Yep. Evidently, you just have a demon enter into your ear and tell you to steal it. It's real simple, Dave. If you can get a demon just to tell you to steal it, you just go steal it, and you're in luck.
That sounds like a poorly thought out plan.
It is?
I'll stick with Hotwire.
All right, good deal.
Yeah.
A woman was arrested in Jacksonville, Florida, after stealing an SUV from an Ace Rent-A-Car.
Of course she was. Florida.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
There's a shock. WJXT reports that Gardenia McCullough, age 23, appeared in court on Friday morning on car theft charges with a bond set at $15,003, Dave. You got to throw the $3 in there just in case. McCullough was arrested after stealing a Toyota RAV4 from an Ace Rent-A-Car. She was found less than a mile away, hiding at a hotel. You probably want to make a getaway more than a mile away if you're going to, have demons tell you to steal a car. On the scene, McCullough told a local news station, "Demons told me to do it. I didn't take it. Demons took it." Well, that's perfectly logical.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely makes all the sense in the world.
It really does. She continued, "I tried to rent it, but y'all didn't want to rent me a car. Y'all talking about how y'all didn't have any cars to rent, so I stole y'all's bleep." I think
How come you have a hard time with the American accent but not the Scottish brogue? I don't understand.
Well, I can get into it if you'd like. I could do it up if you'd like.
All right, ready? And let's. I want you to put yourself in that headspace, Tim. You're a Florida woman who has felt the urge and need to steal a car because demons have told you to do so. All right, you've got your motivation and scene.
Y'all talking about how y'all didn't have any cars to rent, so y'all wait.
That might be the worst Florida woman accent I've ever. It's just stick. How about if you do it in a Scottish brogue, Tim? You seem to have a better handle on that.
Y'all. I can't.
You can't say y'all in a Scottish brogue.
You can't do that. No. You're talking about how y'all didn't have any cars to rent, so I stole your shit. Doesn't work that way.
No, not at all.
Police found McCullough hiding in a hotel room. When they eventually got into her room, they handcuffed her and put her into a patrol car. Yeah. Friday morning, when she appeared in court, McCullough was wearing a red jumpsuit, of course, because she was possessed by demons, indicating that she required extra attention at the jail. McCullough has prior arrests in her record. There's a shock, including charges of trespassing, resisting arrest, resisting police. theft of a firearm, battery of a law enforcement officer, and more. Of course, there's more. She's due back in court on March 28th.
Well, you know what this woman needs, Tim, is she needs some prayers. Which is what Boston City Council is talking about right now. Should Boston City Council have to let Satanists lead an opening prayer?
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like most city councils, the one in Boston begins weekly meetings with an invocation before getting down to business. Recent individuals brought to the lead in the ritual, typically a spoken prayer, have included a Catholic sister, a Methodist preacher, and a Presbyterian minister. Now, the Satanic Temple, an international Satanist group headquartered in nearby Salem, they want their turn. But after having requests to deliver an upcoming invocation denied, the group of Satanists is now accusing the Boston City Council of religious discrimination in a complaint filed in October with the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination. The commission agreed to launch an investigation into the matter in December. We're very communally active, said Malcolm Jerry, the co-founder of the Satanic Temple. This is something that should be open to all faiths to participate. We just want to be respectful and treated like the members of the community that we are. Followers of the Satanic Temple, which has chapters in 17 cities, are atheists and do not subscribe to supernatural beliefs. The group's principles include encouraging benevolence and empathy among all people, rejecting tyrannical authority, and advocating for practical common sense and justice. Then, if they don't believe in the supernatural or a supreme being, what are they praying to, and why would they need to lead a prayer? That would be my defense if I was the city council.
It's a good question.
Jerry said the Satanic Temple in October emailed Boston City Council President Andrea Campbell asking that a member of the organization be able to speak during the invocation. But the council's attorney, according to the complaint, responded by telling the group that the body does not accept requests to deliver invocations, has no formal policy regarding this, and no thanks, but no thanks, basically is kind of the gist of what they're telling them, Tim. Yeah, we don't have, there's no protocol in place, so thanks. We'll call you, though, if we put one in place. Yeah. He says this is the very definition of discrimination.
Oh.
It's preferential treatment of different groups or individuals, Jerry said, because they are the ones who are solely making the decisions. It can't help but be discriminatory. In the complaint, first reported by the Boston Herald, the Satanic Temple has accused the 13-member council of violating the established clause of the First Amendment, among other laws. Campbell, the council's president, declined to comment on the complaint through a spokesperson. Christine O'Donnell, the council's legislative director and attorney, did not respond to messages from a USA Today representative seeking the council's legal position. Satanists have been allowed to give council invocations in other cities, including Pensacola, Florida, and the Kenai Peninsula Borough in Alaska. In Pensacola, the Satanist-led invocation was met with vocal protests by a large group of Christians in the council gallery. But after they were escorted away, the Satanist, wearing a black hooded robe, was able to speak for several minutes and conclude the invocation without interruption. The bowels of hell didn't open up or whatever, Jerry said, but councils and other cities have clashed with Satanic Temple over invocations. In Phoenix, followers of the Satanic Temple were scheduled to give an invocation at a meeting in 2016. But rather than letting the Satanists speak, the Phoenix City Council voted 5-4 to cease holding spoken prayers altogether and shift to moments of silence, ending the body's 65-year practice and avoiding the threat of a lawsuit. See, that makes sense. How about you, for every belief system, we're going to take 30 seconds, 45 seconds for silence, for you to commune with whatever belief system you have. That way nobody's offended, nobody's bothered. That makes total sense.
Sure.
In Boston, the timeline of the Satanic Temple's complaint is unclear. H. Harrison, an assistant with the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination, said he could not discuss the status of the complaint, citing the agency's policy for all cases. I think it's only fair. Let them do it, and then I think we should send in a Catholic priest to read a prayer at a Satanic Temple mass. You know how those Catholic prayers can go on for like 20, 25 minutes. I wonder if they'd be and I'm not putting that down, but I'm just wondering, would they be as open to allowing another religious community leader into their sanctum in order to deliver a prayer? I'm just saying out loud. I'm just thinking is what I'm doing, Tim. It's a thought process.
I see that. I see that. I don't know that they would, but you never know. You could try it.
All right, where are we off to next, Tim?
A story about the Yucca Man, a beast that stalks Marines at 29 Palms. There are many versions of the age-old story. A Marine is assigned to a remote area of 29 Palms when he suddenly finds himself alone in the dark and being circled by a wild, growling beast. He pulls up his weapon and flashlight to see an 8-foot-tall, hairy creature on 2 legs with glowing red eyes. The Marine then is either knocked cold or passes out from fear, awaking to find his weapon bent or broken in half. Another Marine survives his encounter with the Yucca Man, a Bigfoot-like beast of military legend, and the story is given new life. He goes by a number of names, including the Mojave Bigfoot, the Sierra Highway Devil, and even the slightly endearing nickname Marvin of the Mojave. His appearance isn't limited to the relatively recent arrival of the Marine Corps' Air-Ground Combat Center. The local native tribes have been telling stories of hairy devils who have lived in the deserts among the Joshua trees for as long as native tribes have been around. As the area around the San Bernardino Mountains began to develop in the middle of the 20th century, it seems the wild man, the Yucca Man, were pushed out of their native habitat and headfirst into developing civilization. Strange reports of large bipedal beasts were reported as far west as Palmdale and Edwards Air Force Base. It was Edwards Air Force Base, with its numerous security cameras, that reports of the Yucca Men were said to be captured on video. More strange than that, the wild men were said to have actually been captured on camera, moving through the guarded, secure underground tunnels that hide the U.S. military's most advanced top-secret technology. In the 1960s and 70s, U.S. Air Force Air Police units would be sent on wild goose chases in the catacombs of Edwards tunnels, Edwards tunnels after the men who would suddenly disappear. On Edwards Air Force Base, however, the beast had blue eyes and not red. The blue eyes, according to one air policeman who was caught alone with the beast, were said to be 4 inches apart, the eyes of a predator, and rise 7 feet off of the ground. They glowed blue to the man who was sitting in his police truck. Suddenly, the eyes darted closer and covered half the distance between the animal and the truck in the blink of an eye. As an overwhelming stench filled the air, the airman took a disturbance call and drove off. The airmen called it Blue Eyes for the rest of their time in the desert and still talk about him to this day.
Yucca Man. Wasn't that a song by Alabama?
I believe
so. Or was that Leonard Skinner?
Could have been Leonard Skinner. I'm sure.
All right, Tim. It's time now to go to an exotic location as we face unexplained disappearances, Tim.
Uh-oh.
Yes. I'm taking you to the Nevada Triangle. Now, it doesn't really have a ring to it, does it?
Not so much, no.
No. But George Knapp reports on this, Tim, that 11 years ago, this month, hikers found identification belonging to Steve Fawcett, world-famous aviator and adventurer who vanished a year earlier. The vast search for Fawcett focused attention on what is now called the Nevada Triangle. It's an area not nearly as infamous as the Bermuda Triangle, but has seen far more disappearances. You heard that, Tim. Far more. As a matter of fact, in 2007, famed aviator Steve Fawcett flew out of a landing strip in northern Nevada and vanished. For months, searchers combed the rugged mountains looking for Fawcett. What they found were 8 other plane wrecks that no one knew about. How does no one notice, like, smoke on the water, Tim? Fire in the sky. Right? I mean, how do they not notice all of those planes going down? Are they all nighttime crashes?
It would almost have to be in the middle of the night or early morning in order not to notice it. That's for sure.
But that means that at least 7 other flights went down that air traffic control couldn't find. Or, I'm sorry, 8 total, yeah. By one estimate, 2,000 planes have vanished in the last 60 years in what pilots called the Nevada Triangle. Tim, this isn't over the ocean. This is over Nevada.
Yeah.
Nevada, Tim. Well, it's Nevada, Fresno, and Reno.
There's a lot of land out there that doesn't have a lot of civilization, though.
Yeah, but you think a flyover, maybe you don't want to do that. You don't want to fly over looking for all the crashed planes. That might be kind of asking for trouble.
Yeah.
But 2,000 planes have vanished in the last 60 years, Tim. I don't know math. I would have to kick off my shoes, Tim. I'd have to do that, kicking off my shoes. But let's say if we had 2,000 crashes divided by 60 years, Tim, that means that 33.3333333333 flights a year vanish in that area, Tim. How is this not being reported that an average of 33.333333333333 flights a year vanish in this area? Why are we not hearing about this, Tim?
I don't know, Dave. I'm not.
I demand answers, Tim.
I'm not really the.
You deserve the truth. I deserve the truth. Give me the truth, sir. I mean, you don't know.
I'm not really in charge of that department, to be honest with you.
Seriously, 33.333333 flights a year is what it averages. That seems extreme to me. That they vanish, Tim. Scientists have determined that strong winds from the Pacific create a powerful downdraft when they cross the Sierra, strong enough to slam small planes to the ground. But many of the aircraft that have gone missing weren't small at all. A B-24 bomber and other military craft have been among them. Tim, military planes, not in the ocean, not over the jungles of jungly places.
Jungly places.
With jungle in it.
Jungle.
I was going to say Sumatra, but I don't know if that's jungly. B-24 bomber and other military craft have gone missing in the same area. We don't have tracking devices within our own country to find our own planes. Should we not be worried with terrorist cells in our country that they have access to some of these planes, some of these craft that just went missing? Well, I need answers, Tim.
It could be a number of things, and the reasons why these different planes are going down. It could be pilot error. It could be mechanical failure.
It doesn't matter. The fact is, I understand that aspect. But military planes and craft have vanished without a trace over land in the United States. That doesn't seem weird to you?
It could be
I've got to guess military craft have to have better equipment on it, GPS, some way to find it. We have satellites crisscrossing the universe. There are cameras in space that can read your underwear label, and I have good authority that they're doing it right now, Tim.
As we speak?
Yes, but they can't find military planes that have gone missing in that triangle? I think we need to talk to a guest about this in the future. This is crazy. Powerful winds and treacherous weather are major factors in why so many planes crash or vanish in what's called the Nevada Triangle. But it's more than just planes that disappear. It's also people. According to this quote, then I pulled out a map of Nevada and California and almost fell out of my seat because the largest cluster zone we've established is in that Nevada Triangle. And there's two other cluster zones also in that triangle, said David Paulides, investigator and author of the Missing 411 books. For 9 years, former police officer turned author David Paulides has scoured through about 20,000 missing persons files based on very specific criteria. He whittled them down to about 1,200 seemingly inexplicable mysteries, people who vanish under unusual circumstances. In a series of books, Missing 411, Paulides has identified dozens of clusters, many of them national parks or forests, where the number of missing is way out of the ordinary. 3 of those clusters exist within the Nevada Triangle, including, at the top of the list, Yosemite National Park. There's no concrete one item that you can say is causing that. And because of no tracks, no scent trail, no witnesses, we've had people try to say it's got to be UFOs, reptilians, Bigfoot. It's got to be this. In reality, I don't think you can say it's just one thing, Paulides said. Often the missing vanish into thin air while the other hikers, dogs, and are unable to pick up any scent. There's no tracks. Small children just vanish, are found a day later many miles away over mountain ranges. Human abductions and animal attacks have been ruled out. For years, Paulides requested lists of the missing from the National Park Services, but was told they don't keep any such list. I find that hard to believe as well. Because if somebody goes missing in your park system, wouldn't you want to keep a list? Because if you ever come upon a body, you might have a better idea of who it is that went missing. Huh? I'm just saying.
But then again, is there really a way to track everybody who goes through your national park or forest?
No, not everybody that goes through. But when you say, my father went for a walk there, I would just think you'd keep a list of the ones that do get reported. They don't keep any list.
Oh, yeah.
It might be 10 years later, you find a shoe, a piece of clothing, said Scott Gedman, Yosemite Park Ranger. Paulides has investigated cases closer to home, including the 1966 disappearance of a 6-year-old Larry Jeffrey of Henderson, who vanished while with his family on Mount Charleston, and a 1977 case of a missing woman near Tonopah. Some have tried to link the mystery to the Area 51 military base, but that facility is far to the east of the Triangle's boundaries. While speaking to a national conference of search and rescue experts, Paulides was addressed by a pair of state troopers. They said, Dave, you're talking about the things that nobody in this room wants to talk about. Everybody knows it's going on. Everyone here faces it, but nobody wants to talk about it. So just because Area 51 lies outside of the Triangle, we can't assume that has anything to do with it. Well, you don't poop where you eat either, right? So if there is something going on, you'd target an area, you'd steal from that, but then you take it over here. I doubt that you do it in the middle. That would only make you look more guilty.
True.
Yeah. I guess I'm just thinking too much, and you know what happens when I think too much, Tim. I'm hungry. I need a Twinkie. What's our next story?
Our next story has to do with a mom who wants a teacher fired for using a Ouija board with kindergarten students. Well, if you don't teach them early, Dave, how do they know how to use it? I mean,
What? Why would you be upset about something like that?
Well, I'll tell you why here in a second, Dave. We go to Milwaukee, home of lots of Blatz beer.
You made that sound very fancy, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's also the home of the 2020 Democratic Convention. Just saying. An outraged mother is calling on Milwaukee public school officials to fire a kindergarten teacher who introduced the young students in her class to a Ouija board. The mom, who asked not to be publicly named, said the game was used on Friday in her 5-year-old classroom at Zablocki Elementary. They were shutting off the lights and making it dark and talking to spirits. That's not something that should be at school, the mother said of the game, which is said to be able to channel spirits. In an email to the mother, the teacher said the Ouija board had been in the classroom since Halloween. The kids have been asking for a scary story, and I got the board and moved the paper clip to answer some of their questions. They asked about scary characters in movies. I did not say there were spirits. It was all done in fun. I understand your concern, and it was silly, and I'm sorry. I will take the board home, and this won't happen again, the teacher said. The family said the children are too young to be exposed to the concept of Ouija boards, and they believe the teacher should just stick to the curriculum. The 5-year-old is now having nightmares, the mother said. He's scared now to go to bed at night, to be in the dark, and anything alone, she said. An MPS spokeswoman said the teacher was placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of an internal investigation.
Yeah, that's, whether you believe the Ouija board is bad or good, either way, it's probably not a good idea to take it in with you to school if you're a teacher.
Yeah, probably not.
Seems Newsweek is reporting, Tim, that the U.S. is in a UFO race with China and Russia, according to former Senate Majority Leader. Former Democratic Senate Majority Leader and Nevada Senator Harry Reid argued for continued study into UFO phenomena in an interview with CBS affiliate KLAS. The last, Tim. Or is that class? KLAS. We're all class all the time. That's Las Vegas, citing competition from Russia and China. A UFO race of sorts. I'll bet you anything that China is spending some money checking this out. I'll bet you anything KGB Putin is spending some money checking this out, Reid told George Knapp of Las Vegas Now's I-Team. Former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid dropped major hints that he also knows potential adversaries. Russia and China have carried out their own military studies to figure out how UFOs work and how to build their own. Knapp said during the broadcast, citing anonymous Pentagon sources to claim dozens of UFOs have been encountered off the coast of Florida and Virginia in the last 3 years. Reed said he understands why officials within the Pentagon and other possible research avenues within the U.S. government might be skeptical about dedicating resources to studying unexplained aerial phenomena, or UAPs, Tim. UAPs. That's a UAP, or is that a WAP?
It's a good question.
Yeah. But he also seemed to unwittingly undercut his own position by alluding to a rash of recent UFO sightings prompted by scheduled SpaceX launches. This has been going on for a long time. These sightings are said to have been set off by a rocket in California or something. People do not want people in responsibility, whether it's the Pentagon or whatever it might be. They don't want to have to try to explain something that's many times not explainable, Reed said. The interview with Reed also delved into the classified UFO studies conducted by the Pentagon and revealed by the New York Times in 2017, including the Advanced Aerospace Weapons Systems Application Program, also known as AAWSAP. AAWSAP, Tim. AAWSAP. That catalogs sightings by military personnel, such as Tic Tac UFO, captured on camera by an FA-18F fighter jet off the coast of California back in '04. Though AAWSAP, the Defense Intelligence Agency, awarded a $10 million contract to Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies, as we know it as BASS, owned by hotel billionaire Robert Bigelow, a close friend of Reed's who has a long history of investigating UFO phenomena. Reed confirmed the resulting study included investigations of a mysterious ranch in northeastern Utah, once owned by Bigelow. Ownership has since transferred to the Adamantium Real Estate by an anonymous owner.
Wolverine.
Adamantium, right. Logan. Wolverine.
I knew it.
This is known, of course, in UFO circles as the Skinwalker Ranch, which sounds like an awesome strip joint, Tim.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, the site has been a hotbed of reported paranormal phenomena, including claims of cattle mutilations, UFO sightings, and even mysterious animals with piercing yellow eyes that were impervious to bullets, Tim. Impervious to bullets. The program also delved into research related to the UFO phenomena, including 38 scientific papers for the Defense Intelligence Agency, Tim. Mm-hmm. Suddenly re-inflecting all of the words that have the person of the syllables.
That's almost kind of Canadian, but not quite. That was kind of cool.
The program also delved into research related to the UFO phenomena, including 38 scientific papers for the Defense Intelligence Agency with outlandish headlines like warp drive, dark energy, and manipulation of extra dimensions, and traversable wormholes. You had to get seen for that, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Just a little bit of penicillin clears it right up.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. The papers were produced by BASS scientists affiliated with Earth Tech International, a research group founded by Dr. Hal Puthoff, a physicist with a long history of promoting pseudoscience, including endorsing psychic fraud Uri Geller and writing in defense of Scientology, which he described as a highly sophisticated and highly technological system in a letter from the 1970s. According to the AAWSAP, research so far made public has not found a positive reception. It's bits and pieces of theoretical physics dressed up as if it has something to do with potentially real-world applications, which it doesn't. Sean Carroll, a theoretical physicist at Caltech, told Business Insider back in 2018, this is not crackpot. This is not the Maharishi saying they're going to use spirit energy to fly off the ground. This is real physics. But this is not something that's going to connect with engineering anytime soon, probably anytime ever, he says, Tim. Beyond AAWSAP and its successor within the Pentagon, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, also known as ATIP, Tim. Reed said he believes further study is warranted and would like to see UFO research coordinated across multiple existing classified projects. Reed believes the government currently possesses different pieces of evidence beyond the scope of studies he's worked to fund. I've heard rumors, Reed said. He's heard rumors, Tim.
He's heard things.
I hit things, and it's time for you to hit things. Stay tuned. We've got more supernatural news when we return right here on Beyond the Darkness.
Beyond the Darkness listeners, if you like this show, then you're going to love the Laura Ingraham Show podcast on Podcast One. Join Laura as she takes on politics and pop culture with some hard-hitting guests and takes your calls. Download the Laura Ingraham Show podcast every week on Podcast One or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Beyond the Darkness.
Welcome back to the show. This is the best of paranormal talk radio. It's a supernatural news Saturday. Today we're going to stick with mostly news because we had so much to catch up on from the last couple of weeks. And we'll be back next week with more Parashare. And we want your stories. Email them to me, dave@darknessradio.com. dave@darknessradio.com. And tell us your personal encounters with strange supernatural phenomena, psychic moments, in moments of intuition. Did you play with the Ouija board and have strange experiences? Have you encountered a demon? Have you been abducted by aliens or had breakfast with Bigfoot? We want to know all your stories. So email them to me, dave@darknessradio.com. We'll be featuring them in upcoming episodes. Tim, let's get back to some news here. How do you like this for a headline? First, he was transgender. Then he removed his nipples. Now he says he's an agender alien. Jareth Nebula, a 33-year-old from Washington State, was born female and transitioned to male. Now, however, he considers himself an alien. Nebula spent the first 29 years of his life as a woman before transitioning into a male. Several years after this transition, the barbershop receptionist is convinced he's an alien. Nebula has had his nipples removed in order to be more authentic and regularly shaves his eyebrows. After coming out as transgender and believing I had finally found myself, I realized I was wrong. I wasn't male or female or even human, Nebula told The Sun. I don't think or feel like humans. I can't really explain it to others. I'm simply otherworldly. Nebula noted that he did not feel comfortable as either gender. I know I'm stuck in a human form, and that's how I'm perceived by others, Nebula explained. But to me, I'm an alien with no gender. He later added that I thought being a trans man would solve all my issues and inner battles with finding out who I was, but I wasn't as happy as I expected to be. Nebula, who was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a rare conditioning affecting connective tissue in the body, said he felt different from other people, even as a child. He later said that he discovered he was agender, having no gender in particular. I'd always been obsessed with aliens, too, and what it means to be extraterrestrial. So the idea of being an agender alien fit perfectly as an identity for me, he added. Nebula explained that many people in his family and circle of friends just don't understand the alien identification. I don't expect them to get it. I only want acceptance, he added. Who is anyone to tell you who you can or can't be? If someone wants to identify as anything, even an animal, just let them. Nebula is simply going to shake off any criticism he receives and continue moving forward with his life. I'm happy with who I am and will continue to become more alien-like every day. Hey, in it to win it, brother, sister, whatever. If that's what stirs your boat, then go with it. Stirring your boat, is that a thing, Tim?
I'm sure. Let's make it a thing.
Yeah, stirring your boat. I don't know. I was trying to be positive and life-affirming, but good luck with that, Nebula. Good luck with it all. All right, so recently, John Mulaney, the comedian, who portrayed the voice of Peter Porker, the spectacular Spider-Ham in the new Spider-Man Academy Award-winning movie, as predicted by yours truly right here on Beyond the Darkness, Tim. John Mulaney visited with Stephen Colbert. Uh-huh. And, of course, Colbert's old studios are in David Letterman's old studios. And Colbert and Mulaney open up about a ghost story. So let's go ahead and play that audio now.
I'm staring out the window. My dog jumps into my lap. It's a nice moment. My wife takes a photo of it. We look at the photo. It's sweet.
This is it?
I go to get dressed.
Can I show the photo?
Yeah, well, 1 second. No, I don't mean to interrupt your flow. I just wanted you to know that we took a photo. We look at it. Then I leave the room. Then we come back and look at it again, and there's a green spot that we never saw right there where my wedding band meets my dog's stomach.
I got a close-up right here.
And I said, what the hell is that? We zoom in, push it, and it looks like the moon through the trees. And I said, what is that? And as soon as I said, what is that, some voice in me that warned me about the geese went, you know it's a ghost. So imagine for a moment that a green orb appears on your dog in a photo. That very much looks like the moon through the trees. And imagine you're exhausted. You can imagine how you'd leap to ghosts.
Sure.
Have you never seen a ghost?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so. I think so. I mean, I think this place might be haunted.
Yes, theaters are haunted. That was also
frequently haunted.
Yeah, I'd been on the road and I'm doing theaters. They were like from 1900, 1910. And I'd been, very cavalier about ghosts. I'd go, is this place haunted? And we'd laugh about the ghosts that lived there. So I felt that I had a comment in some way. A haunting of sorts.
Well, theaters famously have ghosts. Theaters have what's called ghost lights to keep the ghost in on purpose.
And if you go to an old theater, just ask the stagehands, is there a ghost here? And they'll be like, there's a ghost. I did a theater in Kansas City called the Midlands, and I asked if there was a ghost. And they said the janitor was killed there in 1910, and he still haunts the lobby. And I said, what does he do? And they said, we see him sweeping up. And I said, well, that's double terrible. That he's stuck between realms, and that he still has to clean the lobby. It'd be nice if they were like, we saw him applying for a new position, then we saw him managing the lobby.
Yeah. I know there's a ghost in this building because sometimes, even during the show, a guest will be sitting right there, and I'll hear this voice coming from the guest going, I wish Dave was still here.
That's probably something Dave planted.
Yeah, probably.
So I saw that, and I'd been trying to hold it together all day.
Wait, this just today?
No, that day at the farm.
Oh, okay.
I push in on the photo, and I go, tell me that doesn't look like the moon through the trees. And my wife's like, are you okay? And I said, I think we need to leave right now.
No, you didn't.
I did, yeah.
You can't get your deposit back because you think you saw a ghost?
No, you cannot. But it was already dark on the farm roads, and I was like, if this were a movie, would it be a good idea to drive out in the dark? And also, I didn't want to say too loud what my plan was in case the ghosts were listening.
Were the ghosts,
I'm sad to say.
Were the ghosts saying anything? Or were you getting voices in your head? Anything like that? She doesn't understand you. She's your enemy. Do something.
Oh, no.
Like one of those shining kind of things?
I was possessed, because I was assuming my dog was possessed.
I think you probably had some schmutz on your camera.
We had, what it turned out to be was lens flare. We looked it up and on I won't say what brand of phone, but it's an iPhone. And it's a common thing where you get these green dots, and that's the reflection of the sun coming through the trees and the window pane behind me.
All right. Now, if you saw this glowing ball on your dog not on camera, that would be something to be upset about.
I would just bow down in front of her and be like, I'll do whatever you want.
Are you having digestive troubles, weight gain, low energy, achy joints? I know Tim and I have been dealing with this, and if you've been struggling with any of these, then Dr. Stephen Gundry says you're not alone. And he knows the real cause. Dr. Gundry is one of the most famous and well-respected diet experts in the world. And he says that most likely the cause of these problems aren't lack of exercise or even genetics. The real cause is leaky gut. Leaky gut happens when you eat certain foods that contain lectins, which are little particles that actually tear holes in your digestive tract. These particles then wreak havoc on your insides. They cause poor digestion, fatigue, achy joints and muscles, brain fog, and even worse health conditions and issues. So what's the solution, you say? Well, you just need to know a few foods to avoid, said Dr. Gundry, and he's made a free video describing exactly what they are. People who watch the video have reported more energy, smoother bowel movements, slimmer waistlines, and a stronger, healthier body. If you want to finally tackle your leaky gut, just watch the video at TotalRestore2.com. That's TotalRestore2, the number 2.com. TotalRestore2.com. Go check it out. Change your life like Tim and I are doing right now. TotalRestore2.com. All right, Tim, where are we off to next in the world of supernatural news?
We're off to an alien abduction claim, Dave, where a man sees lights in the sky which leave him with a definite lack of memory, something I think Total Restore 2 might be able to help him with, actually.
Could be.
A man in Wyoming believes that he may have been abducted by aliens, claiming he has a feeling of losing time and memory following a suspicious sighting. The man was camping with a friend in Wyoming in the U.S. when he saw a green glowing ball about the size of a basketball hovering near to his base, he said. The unnamed man gave him a vivid account to the UFO investigation network MUFON and said it all started when he could not sleep and saw two large saucer-shaped craft moving vertically in unison on the horizon. He continued, I then noticed a green glowing object about the size of a baseball within 50 yards of me. There was something resembling a bag of about 2 feet in length below the ball. There was a bag below the ball, Dave. My mind wanders at times.
That's where it belongs.
That's where it belongs. But I could never get a clear look at it. The man then tried to wake his friend up, but to no success, so he began observing the objects again. He said, I tried repeatedly to figure out what this object was doing with no success. It would go from hovering to vibrating to moving very fast, seemingly at random and with no discernible purpose. I remember saying aloud to myself, this cannot be real. As if it heard me or read my thought, it immediately moved east to approximately 400 yards, then returned to hover over me approximately 40 yards. At this point, he said his memory stopped. In his report to MUFON, he continued, I woke up in my sleeping bag the next morning. My hunting partner asked if I'd tried to wake him, saying something about lights. I told him it was nothing, just a meteor. At that point, I was sure he wouldn't believe me. I have a feeling of losing time and memory. My eyes were irritated and red for about 2 days afterwards. My throat and mouth were extremely sore for 4 or 5 days, and my lower lip appeared burned, turning white, then peeling with 5 small scabs on it. Did he try to inhale the thing, or did he actually see it?
I'm not here to judge.
I don't know. My ears also rang for several days. I have never had any previous UFO experiences, and this episode has left me quite unnerved, he was quoted as saying. Some people believe that this is clear evidence of an alien abduction. User M. Miller wrote on the original report, this has all the signs of an abduction case if I've ever seen one. My suggestion is to do hypnotic regression and find out what happened. Don't wait years and years. Your camping partner was probably picked up as well. Chief investigators for MUFON, State Director Richard Beckwith, and Field Investigator Gregory Vasquez could not confirm the authenticity of the claim, however. They wrote, there are a number of airports around that area, and without further information from the witness, the two saucer-like craft cannot be verified as potential conventional aircraft or unknown aerial vehicles. The focus of this investigation is based on the green object or orb, which was close to the witness and therefore likely better identified by him. Due to the remoteness of the location and the close proximity to the witness, the object was likely not a drone, which would be heard. The physical effects may be coincidental to the sighting, but without further discussion with the witness, are not able to be verified. Based on the submitted description of the green object or orb, the disposition of the case is unknown. There you go.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, this is just another reason why we can't have nice things.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. A 30 million page library is heading to the moon to help preserve human civilization, Tim. The massive archive is aboard Israel's Parashare spacecraft. So, you thought you could go to the moon to get away from the rest of the world, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
Get away from humanity, from book learning. Nope, there's going to be a library on the moon. When Israel's Parashare spacecraft launched toward the moon last week, it was carrying a mysterious cargo. Mission planners called it a time capsule, but hinted that wasn't the whole story. Now the truth is out. The little lunar probe carries a 30 million page archive of human knowledge etched into a DVD-sized metal disc. The lunar library, as the archive is known, constitutes a civilization backup to help ensure that our distant descendants never lose humanity's collective wisdom, according to Nova Spivak, co-founder of the Arch Mission Foundation, the Los Angeles-based nonprofit behind the project. The foundation is building a space-based archive designed to survive for 6 billion years or more, 1 million times longer than the oldest written records in existence today. One of the primary evolutionary challenges that we face is amnesia about our past mistakes and the lack of active countermeasures to repeating them. Spivak said in an email, "For the survival of our species, we need to find ways to raise our awareness of what worked and didn't work, and we need to ensure it is shared with people of the future so they can continue to ignore it as we do now, Tim." Paul Davies, director of the Beyond Center for Fundamental Concepts in Physics at Arizona State University, regards the Lunar Library as mostly symbolic, yet still very important, and encourages people to reflect on humankind's place in the universe, he said, and to rethink how we search for evidence of non-human civilizations. If we can leave records on the moon for a huge duration, maybe E.T. will have done the same, Davies said, adding that it might make sense for humans to look for alien artifacts on the moon or other locations. Sending a library into space isn't entirely new for the Arch Foundation. Before Elon Musk launched a Tesla Roadster into orbit around the sun last year, Spivak and his team put in its glove box a quartz disc containing the entire text of Asimov's famous Foundation trilogy of science fiction books, a major influence on Spivak's thinking. For the Lunar Library, the scope had to be far wider. We're building a Rosetta Stone for beings who inhabit our solar system in the future, Spivak said. One small component of the archive is that the time capsule Bear Sheet's creators alluded to, a collection of songs, children's drawings, and writings about Israeli culture and history, but the rest is truly encyclopedic. Including in the Lunar Library's more than 200 gigabytes of data are the entire English language versions of Wikipedia. Damn it, we should have had a Wikipedia page up, Tim.
See?
Damn it. Now, the only thing that we have up there is Dave Schrader as seen on Ghost Adventures. Tim Dennis as seen on America's Most Wanted. Those are the only references, Tim. Good God.
Well.
Yeah, it's going to send all of Wikipedia, which is all great information. Tens of thousands of fiction and nonfiction books, a collection of textbooks, and a guide to 5,000 languages, along with 1.5 billion sample translations between them. All of that information is etched into 25 stacked nickel discs, each just 40 microns, about 1/600th of an inch thick. What if that's beta? What if by the time it gets out there into space, all they have is like VHS, and they can't play the stuff?
I know, right?
Since people of the far future will presumably not have a DVD player handy and might not speak any language now in use, the top of the Lunar Library's disc is engraved with tiny images of books and other documents explaining human linguistics, along with instructions how to read the library beneath. The introductory layers can easily be viewed, then magnified 100 times under a simple microscope. But it's up to our crafty descendants to build the player so they can read the rest of the library. This is why we don't have good things, Tim. This is why.
Yep.
We got to force our will, force our stupid book learning on these aliens.
What happened to the good old days when we had a golden record and you just dropped the needle on it? It played everything.
Drop the needle on the record.
Yeah.
Drop the needle on the record. 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 And the drum beat go like this. Something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
All right. Tim, is it true these are our final two stories of the week?
Yeah.
All right. Where are we going next?
We're getting down there. It turns out, Dave, black mold in your home can cause terrifying hallucinations of demons and ghosts. Who knew?
Damn it, I've been cultivating black mold, and I thought it would be something positive for me and my family. Kind of like a chia pet for the home, Tim. You're saying it's bad.
Yeah, it's not something you can exactly scrape off the walls and put on toast for the kids. A third of Brits believe in ghosts, but the solution could be more cleaning-based. That's right. Black mold isn't something you want on the walls, kids. Black mold in your home could be triggering terrifying hallucinations of ghosts and demons. Experts have warned 1 in 3 people in Britain believes that a house can be haunted, and 28% think they've experienced a supernatural presence, according to a YouGov survey. But a growing number of scientists now believe toxic mold, which grows on the walls of damp homes in the UK, could be to blame. It comes as Emma Marshall blamed a string of health problems on the black mold in her flat. The 29-year-old, who I might add is quite stunning, actually, who noticed the black mold at her flat in Hackney, East London, suffers from exhaustion, memory loss, and her hair has been falling out in clumps. I'm not talking about...
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe we both need to be checked for black mold, Tim.
Yeah, that could be.
Let me pull down my pants. Do you see any?
Any mold?
Black mold anywhere, Tim?
Well, if that little thing you got hanging there between your legs is mold, then...
Hey.
Huh?
That's hurtful.
I'm sorry. Emma, who works in the music industry, has also suffered from brain fog, chronic nerve pain, and skin rashes. Well, maybe it is black mold here in the house.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. She thought nothing of the thick black mold in the bathroom of her flat when she moved in 2014.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Wow. She's... There's one picture, which it must be her press picture, where she's quite stunning. Then there's the real-life picture, which I take it back.
Wow. It's not about looks, Tim. Come on.
I'm a little shallow, Dave. I'm going to admit I'm not a looker. I'm not a looker, but I can be shallow. I'm like most humans. But since moving out the following year, her health has steadily declined. She's now hoping revolutionary treatment will help her expert symptoms. But experts claim the terrifying hallucinations can be banished by simply scrubbing the mold off. Just a little bit of cleaning will take those demons away, Dave. And
just a little dabble, do you?
A little dabble, do you? Wow, she is really broken out here. Holy cow.
Stop being so judgy.
I'm not being judgy. I'm just saying, Emma, get a grip here, woman. It's bleach. That's what'll take that all away. Relitsa Pradonova, of leading domestic services firm Fantastic Services, says for eyewitnesses who experience supernatural encounters, the events can be extremely traumatic, and when the paranormal activity is centered on your own home, it can prove even more frightening. But it's important to remember that there could well be a rational domestic explanation for all manner of spirits, poltergeists, and demons. Several studies have suggested the toxic black mold that grows on damp walls could be a factor. These living organic molds can send spores or clumps of microscopic seeds into the air, spreading like a virus. One of the worst offending types, Stachybotrys chartarum, is present in many homes in the UK, and the mycotoxins it produces can also cause respiratory problems, inflammation of the skin, tiredness, and nausea. Meanwhile, some types of fungus, particularly the rye ergot fungus, have a psychedelic effect when ingested. Oh, that sounds kind of fun.
Sign me up.
Yeah, causing hallucinations and delusions. These molds could well be behind many ghost sightings, and it's important homeowners are aware of the dangers. The phenomenon was first examined in 2007 by experts in Maryland who christened it sick building syndrome, or SBS, and documented the effects in the journal Neurotoxicology and Teratology. Lead author Richie Shoemaker analyzed the inhabitants of water-damaged and mold-ridden buildings and found patients had compromised neurological function as well as a host of other toxicity-related ailments. And in 2015, a team of scientists from Clarkson University, New York, studied the links between hauntings and toxic mold. Associate Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering Shane Rogers sampled the air quality in buildings associated with alleged ghost activity. He said hauntings are very widely reported phenomena that are not well researched. They are often reported in older built structures that may also suffer poor air quality. Similarly, some people have reported depression, anxiety, and other effects from exposure to biological pollutants in indoor air. I'm actually looking at an interesting photo where there's 2 electrical plugs and black mold that's right next to it. So not even electrical current dries up the black mold, which is interesting. We're trying to determine whether some reported hauntings may be linked to specific pollutants found in indoor air. He also added, although allergy and asthma symptoms and other physiological effects are well established, there has been long been controversy over the effects of indoor mold exposure on cognitive and other functioning of the brain. American physicist and paranormal skeptic Dr. Harry Clore is also convinced that mold is to blame for many supernatural events. He said a common airborne fungus will actually grow on latex paint and produces these ergot alkaloids, which cause people to hallucinate, or ergo alkaloids, not ergot, ergo alkaloids, which cause people to hallucinate. This could explain the bizarre things that people are seeing. The NHS warns that if you have damp and mold in your home, you're more likely to have respiratory problems, respiratory infections, allergies, or asthma. Damp and mold can also affect the immune system. Some are worse affected than others, too, with babies and children, the elderly, and those with existing problems such as eczema or asthma, particularly susceptible. But thankfully, there are methods to combat toxic black mold. Fantastic Services professional Relitza says, if you're attempting to clean black mold yourself, always wear a protective mask, rubber gloves, and safety glasses. And the most effective method of combating mold is to pour bleach into a spraying bottle before covering moldy areas and letting the bleach get to work for 30 minutes. Open all windows to allow toxic fumes to escape, then wipe and rinse the area and leave it to dry before disposing of the cloth that you've used. Bear in mind that bleach is a strong chemical product, which makes it dangerous for people with allergies, sensitive skin, as well as kids. Excess moisture.
Yeah, we get it. Clean up your mold, people. Nothing to see here. I can't believe that people are moving into places where there's visible black mold to begin with. What does that tell us about our society?
Well, it does happen when you're actually living in a house too. I mean,
I know, but she said she didn't really pay attention to all the black mold in her apartment when she was looking at renting it. It just seems like, that's a bad choice.
Well, no, I mean, it even happens when you're living in a house. I mean, it can happen from.
Well, I know that. I'm just, like I said, I'm just talking about. I understand that it can happen while you're living there, but would you walk into a place and rent it if there was visible black mold?
It just
I'd be like,
depends on.
I think there might be more deeply rooted problems in this place. That would be my take on it.
Well, in a lot of older areas, especially out east. I'm talking about here in America, like out east. On the East Coast, you've got a lot of older buildings and stuff, and a lot of it can't be helped. I mean, you've got limited real estate, so a lot of times you end up taking what you can get, especially for your price range. So, I mean, a lot of times you get stuck with things that you just figure, well, if I got to live here, that's my price range. I got to just kind of figure out a way to deal with it or clean it up, Yeah,
I guess. All right, where are we off to next, sir?
Next we talk, actually last we talk about Robbie Williams. Robbie Williams is back in the news. Robbie Williams admits he's afraid of being taken over by hitchhiking aliens after a visit to a UFO-plagued ranch. The X Factor judge spoke of his fears on a new documentary featuring Area 51 expert George Knapp. Robbie Williams admitted to fears of being taken over by hitchhiking aliens during a visit to a ranch plagued by paranormal and UFO-related events. The X Factor judge spoke on his fears on a new documentary about Skinwalker Ranch, a property in Utah dubbed the Paranormal Disneyland. 45-year-old Robbie is filmed sitting around a campfire with filmmaker Jeremy Corbell and Las Vegas TV journalist George Knapp, who is regarded as the world's leading authority on Area 51, a U.S. Air Force base in Nevada rumored to be testing flying alien technology. He tells Jeremy, if it was just scary, I could deal with that. But if I have a hitchhiker that comes on and takes me over, I couldn't deal with that, so I'm scared of that. But we do have a saying in England, and it's in for a penny and in for a pound. I'm here, so I might as well, and I survived the last one. I don't know if I can afford any more hitchhikers, so I'll say it out loud to the hitchhikers in the galaxy, don't come home with me. He goes on to stress his belief in aliens, adding, If I'm
so
honest,
racist. So racist.
Yeah. Adding, if I'm honest, I should not have the luxury to disbelieve either. I believe there's other stuff there. I've said it. I always try and qualify that with, but I'm not sure because I might be crazy. And don't worry about me. I'm just an idiot, but I do believe. 66, or George, who's 66, said, the universe is more mysterious, wondrous, and complicated than we imagine. Reality is more complicated than what it might seem. Robbie, who has been passionate about UFOs for years, claims he came within touching distance of a UFO in the documentary. He said, I've seen a few strange things. I've experienced phenomena that I can't explain. I've seen one right above me, and if I got a tennis ball out, I could have hit it with a tennis ball. No substance was involved. No substance was involved at all. The documentary Hunt for the Skinwalker is based on a best-selling book by George and Dr. Colm Kelleher, who joined the scientific team of PhD-level investigators from the National Institute of Discovery Science, who moved into the property to probe the ranch, spearheaded by Las Vegas billionaire Robert Bigelow. They spent more than a decade at the ranch interviewing witnesses, searching for explanations, and even experiencing unknown forces. The duo followed a team of scientists as they investigated strange phenomena at the Skinwalker Ranch, which borders an ancient Navajo reservation in Utah. The site is said to be a hotbed of UFOs, weird lights, cattle mutilations, poltergeist activity, and strange animals. The documentary is named after skinwalkers, who were mythical ancient witches, according to the Native American Navajo tribe. Robbie visited the ranch with a film crew who filmed the weird phenomena.
All right. That guy, I don't know. I don't know how to take Robbie Williams. I want to take him serious because I know he's into this stuff, but I also feel like he's kind of straddling the nut bar.
Yeah. He sees a little bit too much sometimes to be believed for me, but that's just me.
I feel rude saying that. I don't mean to be dismissive, or do I, Tim? Or do I? But I don't know. I just don't get the vibe that he's maybe he fully believes it, but I don't know that he's really in touch with reality. But who is? I mean, we talk about weird stuff on a daily basis. That's it for this week, kids. We'll be back again next Saturday with more Parashare and supernatural news. Tune in tomorrow for more of the best in paranormal talk radio. I'm Dave Schrader. That's Tim Dennis, and this is Beyond the Darkness.